Philippians 2, verse 3. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves, giving all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, REPOST. Double honor to the elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. A sincere shalom, labakarium, shal yasha'Allah, that's peace to the elect of the nation of Israel. To esteem another man better than themselves is a page out of the book of humility. Now you learn that in this truth because humility is the opposite direction of pride. We come into this truth with the pride of Esau, the pride of the world on us. So it's working in reverse when you put on the spirit of YAHAWASHI, which is actually the way to go, because that will fulfill the law when the Lord said there's no greater love than for a man to lay down his life for his brethren. Now we know YAHAWASHI showed the ultimate love by laying down his life 2,000 years ago for the elect to receive the first dominion and for the nation of Israel to be on top in the kingdom to come. So therefore, practicing humility in this place, Babylon, it's an easy thing once you learn what this truth is about, and that we have no win here in Babylon anymore. There's no need to walk around with your chest poked out. Do you understand what we're involved in? There's a possibility that you could be of the 144,000. If that ain't humbling enough, what is? This is James 4 verse 5. Do you think that the scripture saith in vain, the spirit dwelleth in us, lusteth into envy? But he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, Yahawah resisteth the proud, but he giveth grace unto the humble. Do we not want more grace? We need the Lord's grace, and that grace goes to the humble. And you learn how to be humble in this truth. But so we learn how to be humble in this truth. So it's due to the things that we go through that humble us. And one of the biggest things we went through was being blinded and being on the outskirts of YAHAWASHI. You think how dark it was for you in the world, how blind, how close to death you was, and the Lord reached out and he pulled us into this thing. That alone should humble you. And he was the greatest example. YAHAWASHI there was the greatest example of humility. This is 1 Peter 2 verse 1. Wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile and hypocrisy and envying and all evil speaking, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that you may grow thereby. And learning humility, that's part of the new man growing. So the new man that's in us is growing, and we're feeding it the fruits of the spirit. What you got to be humble to receive that type of knowledge, man. The elect is wired differently. They can receive this type of knowledge here. This is 1 Timothy 6 verse 4. He is proud, knowing nothing, and that was us. We hung our whole identity on this macho. Esau give you this, I'm a man. This is a man's world. He give you that mentality in this land of the dead. But guess what? We didn't know anything. We couldn't make heads or tails of the situation. If somebody gave you the book and say break down the seals, you didn't know where you was going. You didn't know who Esau was. You didn't know that you were an Israelite. You didn't know the Father's name. You didn't know the Son's name. So now that you come into this truth and we learn these are jewels. These are diamonds in the rough. As we learn this treasure, it humbles you. So it says, he is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strife of words. Wherefore cometh envy, strife, railings, evil surmisings. These are the things that we were in, being on the outskirts of this circle. Colossians 3 verse 8. But now you also put off all these: anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth. And all these come with that pride. That's that old man. Now we in that new man. So that new man, he walks with humility, because once again, this is James 3 verse 14. No, actually James 4 verse 5. It says, do you think that the scripture saith in vain, the spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy? That's the flesh. But he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, Yahawah resisteth the proud, but giveth grace to the humble. So now we got to feed the spirit this humility. And it's a new walk. We're going to be learning this spirit of humility every step of the way until Yahawashi crack those clouds. This is Romans 12 verse 10. Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another. And we start there. You come into this truth. You got other men that claim to be of the hope for elect. You see them growing. They're doing the right thing. They're in the fruits of the spirit. They're with you in a war, in the spiritual battle. We preferring your brother over yourself, meaning you considering how would that feel to me if I did that to him. That's preferring your brother. Do unto him what you would like done to yourself. You don't learn that in this world. This is a very selfish, unforgiving world that we live in. So now we in the world of Hamashiach. So we prefer our brothers over ourselves. In the majority of the situation, if you're in the spirit, you're going to consider basically how would I feel if that happened to me. This is one of the greatest examples here. This is Philippians 2 verse 3. It says, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory. That's this world. I want to be number one. I want to be in the front. I got something to say. Well, this is how I do it. Well, this is how I feel. That Edomite mind frame. But now we got this new man on who comes in the spirit of humility, because we want more grace. So what the Lord say, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory. We put that vainglory, which is worthless glory, aside. You got to think about the things that these people are killing themselves after they won't have anyway when they die. Half of them are sick. They don't know it. They fighting over crumbs. The things that we allow to stretch us in this world come to amount to nothing. So it's all vainglory. But in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. And you learn that when you come into the spirit of Yahawashi. You learn what this means here. Look not every man on his own thing, but every man also on the things of others. Meaning now you're into helping the brother out. You considering the brother's situation. Now we can't fix everything. So ultimately we use our prayers, which is that voice, that spiritual phone. We call on Yahawashi. But for the most part, we're considering the brotherhood. So it says, let not every man on his own thing, but every man also on things of others. Let this mind be in you, which also was in Hamashiach, who being in the form of God, right, of a power, though it not robbery to be equal to Yahawah, but made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of a man. And being found in fashion of a man, He humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross. So Yahawashi could have took a reputation, but he didn't. He humbled himself. He didn't make himself equal to his father either. You got Yahweh, then you have Yahawashi, then you have man, and then you have woman. Okay, that's the order. Yahawashi didn't overstep his boundaries with the Father, and he humbled himself in the flesh and became obedient unto the cross. Yahawashi is the ultimate example of what being humble and humility is. Laying down your life for your brothers. We're going to end it right there, giving all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAKAHAKWADASH. Double honor to the elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. A sincere shalom, labakarium, shah, yasha Allah, that's peace to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.